Native Instruments, the parent company of Izotope, is being acquired by InMusic. That announcement went out recently, and if you use RX every day for podcast cleanup, dialogue repair, post-production work, you just need to know Izotope just got its third owner in about 9 years. The question I want to try to answer in this video is what that means for you. Not the panic version, not the optimistic version. The version where we look at what InMusic has done with the brands they've already bought and see where Izotope and RX are most likely to land on that pattern. Because there really are three possibilities. One, this is a private equity style cost-cutting deal that's going to just gut the team and milk the existing customer base. Two, this is a slow neglect story where RX gets maintained but stops innovating until people drift to alternatives. Or three, this is actually a stable home for Izotope after a really rough 4 years. And the next few RX versions are going to be fine. Let's take a look at their actual history and see which of these is most likely. So, the basics, in case you're catching up. InMusic announced that they've signed an agreement to acquire Native Instruments out of insolvency. The deal closes in the coming weeks, at least that's what they say. The agreement covers all of Native Instruments brands. Native Instruments, Izotope, Plug-in Alliance, and Brainworks. So RX, Ozone, Nectar, Insight, all of it goes to InMusic in this deal. For context, InMusic is the parent company behind Akai, Professional, Moog Music, Denon DJ, Newmark, Rain, M Audio, Elysis, AirMusic Technology, Sonovox, BFD Drums, Ion, and a couple others. They're a privately held company out of Rhode Island, founded and owned by Jack O'Donnell with about 500 employees globally. This matters because you may be concerned that this is just another private equity company situation. InMusic is not that. They're a founder-owned, family-held holding company that has been in this business for 30 plus years. Whether the outcome is good for RX users or not, the motive structure is different from what we saw under the current ownership under Francisco Partners. So how did we get here? Native Instruments was acquired by Francisco Partners in 2021. Izotope was bought by the same group in 2022. Plug-in and Alliance soon after. The umbrella company became Soundwide, then Native Instruments absorbed all of the brands back into the Native Instruments brand. And that was in 2023. And then this past January, NI filed for preliminary insolvency in Berlin. The filing mentioned hundreds of millions in accumulated debt from the Francisco Partners era of acquisitions. So this acquisition by InMusic is not a normal sale. It's a rescue. Why this matters for all of us RX users. If RX is part of your daily workflow, and for many podcast editors and post-production people it is, or it was, there are really three things that you might be worried about. Will my license keep working? Will the team that builds RX still exist a year from now? And is the price or licensing model going to change? Both companies have addressed the first one. Existing licenses keep working, downloads stay live, customer support continues, or what's left of it. That's in the official press releases from both Jack O'Donnell from InMusic and Nick Williams at Native Instruments. The CEO quote going around is, quote, "The tools you rely on today will keep working, and the tools you will rely on tomorrow are actively being built." Take that as you may. The two other questions about the team and the pricing, those weren't answered in the press releases. Those get answered by what InMusic has actually done with the brands they've already bought, which is what I want to look at brand by brand because there's some history here. Let's go through InMusic's portfolio, and I'll keep this short. The point is to find a pattern here. Newmark, 1992. The original company, DJ controllers, mostly entry to mid-tier consumer stuff. Steady output, never premium, never collapsed, maintained. Elysis, 2001. Was a real pro brand in the 80s and 90s. Drum machines, ADATs, mixers, even some synths. Under InMusic, it got repositioned down market as a budget electronic drum kit brand. Their Strata Pro stuff in the last couple of years has gotten more credible reviews, but for most of the InMusic era, Elysis has been the budget pick, not the pro pick. Akai Pro, 2005. This one's a bit of a success story. The MPC line was stagnant when InMusic bought it. The MPC Renaissance, their first attempt, was kind of a flop. It was a hardware controller that needed a computer, and the standalone MPC users hated that. But then InMusic came back to standalone with MPC Live, MPC-X, and MPC-1, and that line is doing well. Firmware updates ship regularly, the user community is active, and the MPC has experienced a second life. So Akai is a brand that took maybe a decade to find its footing under InMusic, but it got there. AirMusic Technology, 2012. This is the one that might worry RX users a little. Air was an innovative software instrument company that came over from Avid when InMusic bought the Air software group with M-Audio. Loom, Hybrid, Vacuum Pro, Velvet, Strike, Transfuser, these were pretty well respected plugins. Under InMusic, most of them haven't seen real development in years. The KVR forum threads call legacy Air titles abandonware. There was a small revival in 2025 where they stripped iLok auth and moved everything to the InMusic Software Center, but the actual products are mostly the same code from a decade ago. M-Audio, also 2012, came over in the same Avid deal. It was a real prosumer brand for interfaces and keyboards. Under InMusic, it got repositioned down market. The Gearspace community, they have a long-running thread basically asking what went wrong with M-Audio. The consensus is cheaper builds, less support for older gear, basically a brand that's now competing on price rather than quality. Denon DJ and Marantz Pro, 2014. This could be looked at as another win. Denon was a perpetual second place to Pioneer for years. Under InMusic, the Prime line, SC5000, Prime 4, actually challenged Pioneer's dominance for the first time in over a decade. This is the InMusic pattern at its best. A brand that was struggling gets focused investment and comes out stronger. Rain, 2016. They were a premium US-built brand, hand-assembled in Mukilteo, Washington. Under InMusic, the manufacturing was moved offshore. The product itself, the 12 and 72 Mark II, actually got pretty positive reviews on build and feature set. But the original Rain reputation was tied to its US manufacturing, and that piece is gone now. In 2020, they acquired BFD Drums. This is probably another win. BFD was a popular sampled drum plugin, and FXpansion was struggling. Under InMusic, BFD 3.5 shipped, the brand integrated with the Elysis eDrum line, and it's healthy. Saved a brand that was on the rocks. Stanton and Sonovox, both of them have been mostly quiet under InMusic. Not gutted, just kind of there. And then Moog Music in 2023. This is probably the big company they've acquired. This is the one that is most recent. They bought Moog back in June 2023, and about 3 months later, they laid off more than half of the manufacturing workforce at their Asheville, North Carolina headquarters and moved a lot of assembly to Taiwan. The synth community, their reaction was harsh, as expected. Moog was employee-owned. Premium US-made synths were a core part of the brand identity, and that piece of the brand basically went away. Moog still exists, products still ship, but the headcount and the manufacturing model are not what they were when Moog was purchased. The first thing to say and to clarify is that InMusic is not a private equity company. They're not running a 5-year flip playbook. They've held Newmark for 33 years, Akai for 20. The exit motive that drives the worst private equity behavior, the financial engineering, sell it on its 5-year play, that motive isn't here. That doesn't mean the news is all good, though, because the pattern that does show up is something to consider. Cost-engineered repositioning. When InMusic buys a brand, manufacturing usually gets cheaper, headcount tends to come down, sometimes hard like at Moog, and then the product roadmap reorients towards the audience InMusic actually serves, which is primarily music producers, DJs, and the consumer to prosumer side of the market. If a brand fits that audience well, Akai, Denon DJ, BFD, InMusic seems to invest. The product gets better, the user community is happy. If a brand doesn't fit, like Air's flagship plugins, Sonovox, Stanton, they tend to drift. They're maintained, but not really developed. If you want to compress the whole thing into one sentence, it's something like InMusic is a competent founder-led operator that runs cost-engineered, audience-fit decisions on the brands it buys. Brands that fit the producer DJ portfolio do well, and the brands that don't, they just kind of drift off. So where's RX land in all of this? The pessimistic read is that RX's software, professional and post-production focused. And that audience is not in InMusic's producer DJ demographic. By looking at Air and Sonovox, I feel like Izotope doesn't fit like Native Instruments and Plugin Alliance do. The optimistic read is that Izotope is a well-known brand in the Native Instruments catalog. There was a CDM article that came out recently that specifically called out Izotope's research pedigree and machine learning IP as a strategic prize for InMusic, meaning it's the kind of asset that they probably actually do want to invest in because the underlying neural network and algorithmic technology can flow into their other products. The realistic read is that we just don't know. Probably Izotope will continue working on the next Ozone and RX releases. Do they continue with the annual updates with a couple of new features path, or return to the pre-Native Instrument acquisition releases of a solid release that's worth the upgrade price every 2 or 3 years? The other problem here is that the original Izotope staff, they're probably pretty much gone, at least according to what I've read over the years. Another possibility is a move to subscription only for the software products. The thing to remember here is that audio users have pushed back pretty hard when companies have tried going to sub only. Remember Wave's attempt a couple years ago? Plugin Alliance tried it before that, and both companies quickly went back to offering the option of subscription or perpetual licenses. Let me pause things here real quick and ask that if you're getting value out of this video, go ahead and press the like button. It helps the channel. And let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Let's get back to the video though. The general consensus online is that RX12's new upgrade pricing makes it tough to see the value in upgrading for a couple of new modules and maybe a couple of under the hood upgrades or tweaks. Could Native Instruments have killed RX with this pricing change and shipping near annual upgrades that are light on features? Will InMusic look at RX12 sales and decide it doesn't fit in their bigger picture? Or do they keep it and maintain it, but not really develop it? I wonder if they put Izotope on hold and task the team with adding machine learning features into their hardware products. And if you've been evaluating alternatives anyway, Waves Clarity VX Pro, Akai Digital Acoustica, Steinberg's Spectra Layers, Accentize DX Revive, Cedar Audio, none of that really changes either. RX still does a couple of things none of those tools do, but it does feel like RX has fallen behind in this race. The big question, though, is this. Does InMusic see this as a race Izotope still has a chance of winning, or will they be happy just to finish? There are a few things that I'd probably watch over the next year or so that will tell you which of these scenarios is likely to play out. One is layoff news. If the Izotope or Native Instrument offices start seeing significant cuts, that's the Moog pattern playing out, and the RX team is probably even smaller after. 2, the RX 13 release ships in its normal time frame, probably at this point, 2027? The team is still intact and the product line is healthy. If we're sitting here in 2028, still on RX 12, that could mean we're looking at a different story. 3, whether the Izotope brand stays distinct or gets folded into like a single Native Instruments umbrella. Right now, Izotope is still its own brand and company. If they migrate into a single Native Instruments or InMusic studio brand, that's probably a sign of internal team consolidation. 4, pricing and subscription model changes. If you start seeing RX move into a subscription-only bundle, that's the cost engineering stuff showing up on the revenue side. So, to wrap things up, I feel like this acquisition is good news in that InMusic is a music company. They're not a private equity flip company. The way they handled AirMusic Tech, that's a real concern for any of the software brands in their portfolio. Either way, the days of Izotope before they were acquired, back when they were pushing hard on innovation and just cutting edge technology, those days are behind them. I don't see Izotope returning to that, but I would love to be proven wrong. So, what about you? If you use RX every day, what's your take on this? Are you more worried, less worried, or unchanged after seeing who the buyer is? Are there alternatives you've been seriously considering or that you've already made the switch to? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.